There is really no other way to say it. The upcoming chapter coming to DVD, Steady Pulse, is going to bring some really frustrating gameplay elements to the game, specifically for the killer role. Now that's due to 3 major things coming in the update, and I want to just start straight up with the biggest one. Behavior is buffing Boon Dark Theory, which is a boon perk that increases survivor movement speed by normally 2%, but after this buff it will go up to 3% over a 24-meter radius. Now let me explain why this is going to lead to some very atrocious gameplay. While 3% is definitely enough to literally invalidate the bottom half of the killer roster, as OG Mate for this showed us before, it's normally offset by the fact that it's a 24-meter radius, which isn't all that big. However, now that it's going up to 3%, this moves the perk into a territory where it can and will 100% be abused by Swifts mostly, but even a solo can cause severe damage by themselves. All they have to do, and they will do this, I know other content creators are going to promote it as well, which will make it mainstream very fast after this update releases. They're going to purposely bring the killer to a multi-floor map like RPD. The map offering quality of life change is not here yet, so map offerings are still insanely broken. Then they're going to put this boon up on a multi-floor map, probably with Shadow Step and Boon Exponential as well, which will not only double the radius of the boon, but it will make it virtually impossible to get rid of. If the killer goes on a side quest to snuff the boon, it's going to cause them significant pressure and momentum, possibly losing them the game all by itself. And even if they do that, the survivor can just relight the boon, and that's assuming it's only one survivor who brought in a boon and not multiple. So although I'm not against the 3% buff by itself, boons are currently very abusable with virtually zero counterplay on the right map. And if your counter argument to this is to just say, well then, just run Shattered Hope, please check yourself into the local zoo and make sure they're stocked up on enough glue for your detox, because that's literally insane. So let me paint you a picture. I want you to imagine a Swift bringing you to RPD and basically booning the entire map with 3% movement speed, no scratch marks, no order reading, and infinite unbreakable. What could possibly make this situation more unbearable to deal with? How about buffing Breakout from 7% movement speed up to 10% movement speed, substantially buffing Sabo plays, which is beyond frustrating in this situation because as killer, you now have literally zero correct options in this scenario. You can't slug, you can't hook, and you honestly can't even snuff the boon. If that's not enough, they also buffed Champion of Light, a current meta perk that often gets paired with Fixated for extra movement speed while holding down a flashlight. Well, now Behavior has adjusted the perk so that the movement speed bonus goes from 50% up to 70% base, so that it still has the same value as if you were using it with Fixated, but now you just have an additional free perk slot. And again, this was already a meta perk. So to me, the writing is really on the wall here. This is going to be a miserable chapter for killer players, and I haven't even gotten to everything yet. There's more. On the bright side though, if it's too annoying to deal with, I'm happy that I can just head over to instantgaming.com and grab an excellent deal. I highly recommend the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's an asymmetrical game like DVD, but it's way more balanced, and as a plus, it has way faster matchmaking times right now because of the influx of PlayStation Plus players. Speaking of which, you can grab gift cards for PlayStation on Instant Gaming as well. And remember, everything is from the authorized distributors, so it's completely safe and legit. Of course, there's plenty of other savings for new games and upcoming releases too, so either use my QR code on the screen or check out my links in the description to save a bunch of money. And as always, don't forget to enter into my free game giveaway while you're there. A new winner is randomly selected every month. But let's now continue with the absolute dumpster fire coming soon to DVD. A lot like Shoulder the Burden, the new Swift mostly anti-tunnel perk coming to the game is Duty of Care, which will give all survivors within a 16-meter radius a 25% movement speed bonus for 6 seconds when the perk user takes a protection hit. So Swifts will be able to use this to great effect. They not only can take hits and quickly heal to get back to take another hit, but additionally they can do things like combo a Styptic and Mate for this and other things to make it impossible to tunnel a survivor out. Now, I'm assuming listening to this, you might say, well then just don't tunnel. But you have to look at the big picture. What makes Swift so powerful is that they can optimize their builds perfectly so that the killer again has a zero options. They can't play normal, they can't slug, they can't tunnel. It's just really a silly situation. The only option is quite literally to play an S tier killer like Nurse, Blight, or formerly the Ghoul and dominate so hard that you overcome the mountain of advantages that have been stacked against you. But I am not a fan of S tier killers. I never have been. I find them boring. There's no real challenge once you fully optimize them. It's just a single player game with real people filling in for the AI and feeding cringe egos. Speaking of the Ghoul no longer being S tier, he has a page of nerfs coming that will potentially hurt him a lot. I know a big one is his power will now go on cooldown after breaking a pallet. This is to make it to where survivors can drop a pallet and shift W to another one without much of a chance of being intercepted. So if you're thinking the Ghoul will save you from these haste buffs, it's entirely possible that he will no longer be able to deal with this garbage either. In addition, I was never a big fan of it myself, but Pentimento is being nerfed out of existence. That could change by the time the update comes out because it's a laughable overkill, but I just thought I'd mention that. Overall, slugging is once again being encouraged by the developers as the new perks once again punish killers for going for hooks, and another viable gen defense perk is completely dead now. So I'm not happy with that balanced direction. I highly recommend stacking up on sacrificial wards for this update. You just cannot let survivors bring you to a map where they can do this to you. If you see 4 offerings for the same map offering, seriously, just Alt F4 or dashboard. It is not worth it unless you're a masochist. Again, like I said earlier, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre actually has way better queue times right now. So when this update comes out, if my fears come true and the game is just not fun to play, I'm either going to just stick to playing Survivor or I'm going to go play TCM instead. I'm definitely not playing killer with this garbage being abused. There's no way. And I quit the game before when OG MFT came out because again, it just deleted the bottom half of the killer roster, which is what I enjoy playing because I do like a challenge, but I don't like going up against something that's just blatantly unfair and stupid. Lastly, I want to say that I hate having to make another cringe like killer main style video where it's like, I'm a killer main, me. Especially when we currently have a real problem of a survivor player shortage in the game right now, leading to these massive queue times with killer, but I'll always call it like I see it. So be prepared, bring a diaper, bring sacrificial wards, because it's gonna get very boopy. That said, let me know how you feel about these literal, undeniable one-sided changes coming to the game. And as always, thanks for watching and have a good one.